The scene transitions to Joshua standing before the grave of the mercenary king, a weighty anticipation filling the air. With Lucia's arcane powers as his conduit, Joshua beckons forth Barbarian, the legendary mercenary king, to rise once more, this time as the sovereign of Dullahan's realm. As the mercenary king's lifeless form stirs and stands upright, the ethereal presence of Barbarian emanates from within. Joshua, taken aback by the ominous energy that surrounds the awakened entity, witnesses its commanding presence firsthand. Lucia, ever the knowledgeable guide in the realm of mystical creations, enlightens Joshua about the rare stature of the Dullahan among demons. She reveals the disbelief she harbored at the mere possibility of them birthing such a legendary being from the remains of one of Joshua's superhuman subjects. Yet, unlike the vengeful spirit of the Death Knight, the Dullahan bears no animosity towards its creator. Lucia assures Joshua of this crucial distinction. However, Joshua's unease intensifies as he observes the Dullahan hurtling towards him with alarming speed. Doubt creeps in as he questions the validity of its intentions, prompting him to seek reassurance from Lucia in the face of the looming threat. The Dullahan's declaration echoes through the air, its demand for obedience coupled with a formidable strike aimed squarely at Joshua. Despite Joshua's best efforts, he barely manages to deflect the onslaught, a testament to the Dullahan's strength. Lucia interjects, shedding light on the Dullahan's prideful nature. She explains that submission to a weaker master is anathema to the Dullahan's ego. It will only yield to one whose power surpasses its own. Joshua, undeterred by the challenge, remarks on the simplicity of the condition. With determination etched upon his features, he retaliates, thrusting his spear towards the Dullahan. Yet, the resulting impact merely scratches the surface of the Dullahan's formidable armor, leaving Joshua to contemplate his next move. Caught in a moment of deliberation, Joshua weighs his options, pondering whether to unleash his aura force or tap into holy energy. However, Lucia interjects once more, revealing a crucial limitation. Joshua can only harness demonic energy in this confrontation. The Dullahan, it seems, recognizes only those whose demonic power eclipses its own. The revelation sends a shockwave through Joshua's consciousness, prompting him to question Lucia's timing in divulging such crucial information. But before he can dwell on her motives, the Dullahan resumes its strike, poised to test Joshua's resolve once more. As the Dullahan's strike is met with Joshua's resolute defense, Lucia offers a glimpse into the annals of history. She recounts a time, 3 centuries past, when even the mightiest of demon gods faltered in the face of the Dullahan's indomitable power. Yet, with Joshua wielding Lucia, the legendary Spear of Lords, Lucia reassures him that victory should be within reach. However, Joshua finds little comfort in her words as he grapples with the reality of confronting the Dullahan. Lucia's guidance takes a more urgent tone as she stresses the necessity of expelling greater amounts of demonic energy to prevail, warning of dire consequences should Joshua falter. Growing weary of Lucia's admonishments, Joshua's resolve intensifies, and he channels his innermost demonic essence. In a startling transformation, Joshua finds himself overtaken by a surge of primal energy, sprouting horns upon his brow and clad in the darkened armor of a demon lord. Witnessing this manifestation, the Dullahan, recognizing Joshua's newfound dominance, pledges its allegiance without hesitation. Seizing the opportunity, Joshua asserts his command over the Dullahan using Lucia's seal of obedience, bending the once unyielding entity to his will. Lucia, observing the scene unfold, imparts a revelation. The ability to control the original Lord of Dullahan was once solely the domain of the demon god, underscoring the magnitude of Joshua's newfound authority. Joshua's expression morphs into one of bewilderment as he absorbs Lucia's cryptic revelation. With a furrowed brow, he queries Lucia, seeking clarity amidst the swirling enigma. Lucia, her tone tinged with gravity, directs Joshua's attention to the seal emblazoned upon his chest, a depiction of the crimson moon, an emblem of the demonic realm. Yet, she underscores that it's not the moon's visage that holds significance, but rather the entity it conceals. Perplexed, Joshua presses for elucidation on this mysterious figure. Lucia's response sends a chill down his spine as she unveils the identity of him. An angel, an archangel of unparalleled might adorned with 6 pairs of majestic wings. This celestial being, she explains, defected from the heavenly realm, finding sanctuary within the depths of the demonic domain, all while usurping the power of control. Lucia elaborates further, delving into the archangel's notoriety as a pariah, marked as a traitor by both celestial and infernal forces. Yet, despite this condemnation, the archangel's potency remained undeniable, capable of subduing even the most formidable of demon kings. The weight of Lucia's words hangs heavy in the air as Joshua grapples with the enormity of this revelation. He queries Lucia for the name of this fallen luminary, and her response strikes a chord of disbelief within him. Lucifer, the light stealer, a name synonymous with rebellion and defiance. In the wake of this revelation, Lucia unveils her own transformation. A second awakening, signaling a paradigm shift in their journey through realms both divine and infernal. The scene unfolds amidst the rubble of a once proud castle in Aiden Canyon, where Cheryl, flanked by Icarus, Cain, and the Pontier Knight, stands amidst the aftermath of destruction. Baron Arna, his frustration palpable, surveys the scene with disbelief, his plans unraveling before his eyes as the Pontier forces stand resolute. As tensions simmer, Baron Arna commands his archers to ready their bows, a desperate attempt to regain control of the situation. Inwardly, he reflects on his decision to seek refuge within the safety of Aiden Canyon's Pontier Castle, a calculated move in the face of mounting peril. Count Cox, his voice laced with a hint of reproach, confronts Baron Arna, questioning the wisdom of remaining entrenched in the face of imminent danger. Baron Arna's response is tinged with resignation as he reveals the grim reality. The Black Knight of Dennis River has effectively sealed off any chance of escape, leaving them trapped within the confines of Aiden Canyon. A somber silence settles over the group as Count Cox offers a pragmatic suggestion, urging Baron Arna to consider alternative means of extricating themselves from their predicament. Baron Arna's shock is palpable as he grapples with the weight of Count Cox's words, realizing the gravity of their situation as their options dwindle with each passing moment. Outside the castle walls, Cain's voice cuts through the tension, noting the conspicuous absence of the traitors. With a nod of agreement, Icarus acknowledges the tactical advantage held by those defending against a siege, urging Cain to resume his position until the siege tower is prepared for advancement. Unfazed, Cain reassures Icarus, cryptically alluding to his recent advancements. Intrigued yet puzzled, Icarus watches as Cain prepares to unveil his newfound technique, a novel application of aura manipulation. With a determined gleam in his eye, Cain channels his aura, layering it atop itself in a demonstration of his unique approach. As he charges toward the castle alone, the archers, under Count Cox's command, unleash a barrage of arrows aimed at him. Undeterred, Cain's mind is focused solely on his experimental technique. Concentrating intently, he harnesses his aura to create a protective barrier, utilizing its resonance to influence the senses of his adversaries, a technique he dubs Aura Protect. As the arrows close in, Cain's confidence remains unwavering, his faith in his newfound ability driving him forward amidst the storm of projectiles. As the arrows hurtle toward him, Cain's mastery over his aura becomes manifest as he erects a protective barrier, deflecting the deadly projectiles. Baron Arna and Count Cox stand in stunned disbelief at this unexpected display of power, witnessing Cain's deflection of the arrows with a barrier forged from his own aura. With unyielding determination, Cain channels his energy into a single devastating strike aimed squarely at the castle gates. In a thunderous crash, the gates crumble beneath his onslaught, leaving Baron Arna incredulous at the sight before him. Moments later, outside the castle walls, the tables have turned as Baron Arna and Count Cox find themselves captured by the Pontier forces. Cheryl steps forward, her gaze unwavering as she confronts the captured nobles. With a commanding presence, Cheryl demands their final words. Baron Arna, clinging to his noble lineage, protests vehemently, asserting his rights as a member of the prestigious Avalon Empire. Yet Cheryl remains resolute, deaf to his pleas. Turning her attention to Count Cox, Cheryl is met with a resigned acceptance of his fate. Count Cox, acknowledging his own failure, offers no defense, prompting Cheryl's fury to flare. With a swift command, Cheryl orders her knights to execute the traitors, her resolve unshaken by their protests or pleas for mercy. As the knights' arrows find their marks, bringing down both Count Cox and Baron Arna, a somber realization settles over the battlefield. Despite Count Cox having raised Cheryl as his own, she shows no hesitation in carrying out justice. This decisive act marks the genesis of Cheryl's reputation as the Iron Lady, a moniker that would echo through the annals of history. With their downfall, the territorial struggle between Count Cromwell and Count Pontier reaches its definitive conclusion. However, remnants of Cromwell loyalists remain, unwilling to accept defeat. In response, Joshua Sanders elects to remain at the Pontier family estate, ensuring stability in the aftermath. Meanwhile, the Wilhelm Knights and Lion King Rian Gigar return to Reinhardt, safeguarding against any potential disruptions. In a strategic move, Joshua agrees to succeed Rian as the leader of the Free Knights Alliance, solidifying their alliance. Under Axeler's leadership, the Mercenary Guild acknowledges its clandestine dealings with the Cromwell family. To atone for their actions, Axeler personally extends apologies to organizations affected by the recent tumult, seeking to mend fractured relations and restore trust in their ranks. In a bid to make amends for their deviation from their core principles, the Guild reached a unanimous decision to slash all commission fees by half for a span of 2 years. While this gesture of contrition left the organization with slim profit margins, it served as a tangible display of their commitment to rectifying past missteps. Once the designated period elapsed, the Guild pledged to reassess their settlement ratio between themselves and their mercenaries, a move aimed at fostering greater equity and transparency within their ranks. Thanks to Axeler's swift and decisive leadership, the public perception of the Guild soared to unprecedented heights, cementing Axeler's status as a revered figure among the mercenaries. However, with the territorial conflict resolved, peace was not yet fully restored. The tranquil scene transitions to the rural expanse of Tryphia, where unsuspecting farmers toil in their fields. Suddenly, their idyllic routine is shattered by the menacing presence of a dragon soaring overhead, its fiery breath decimating their livelihoods in a blaze of destruction. Meanwhile, within the confines of Peril Castle, Joshua finds himself at odds with Cain, who adamantly opposes Joshua's intention to venture into the perilous Tryphia region. Suspecting Joshua's intent to confront the rumored dragon, Cain stands firm in his resolve to deter his companion from embarking on such a perilous quest. Joshua's resolve remains unwavering as he confronts Cain, dismissing any connection between his journey and the rumored dragon. Instead, he reveals his intention to venture to Tryphia for personal reasons, urging Cain to permit his departure and entrust Cheryl's safety to him. To Joshua's surprise, his path is obstructed not only by Cain but also by Iselin and Icarus. They caution Joshua against the potential dangers lurking in the wake of the Cromwell family's defeat, emphasizing the perceived threat posed by the dragon sighting in Tryphia. Despite Joshua's protestations, they implore him to delay attending to his personal matters in light of the escalating risks. Inquisitive, Cain queries Joshua about Iselin's identity, prompting a knowing smile from Joshua. Reminding Cain of their past encounters, Joshua reveals Iselin's presence as a result of his vow to safeguard her well-being. Encouraging Cain to extend his protection to Iselin as well, Joshua's words hint at a deeper bond between them. As tensions simmer, Joshua reaffirms his determination to proceed to Tryphia, undeterred by the potential perils that lie ahead. Joshua's urgency to depart remains unyielding, yet Cain issues a stern warning against underestimating the dragon's might. He emphasizes the catastrophic potential of dragon attacks, capable of laying waste to entire empires in a single devastating strike. Cain reveals that Tryphia has already been evacuated due to the perceived threat, cautioning Joshua against unauthorized entry without the imperial family's consent. Iselin interjects with a perspective steeped in lore and wisdom, shedding light on the significance of dragons as guardians of the Middle Realm. She posits that the dragon's appearance serves as a dire omen, signaling a disruption in the delicate balance of the realms. Iselin suggests that the dragon's emergence is a warning to humans, deterring them from encroaching upon the territory of the Forest of Dark Beings, traditionally under the dragon's protection. Expressing her belief that the dragon will soon retreat after delivering its cautionary message, Iselin advises Joshua to exercise patience before proceeding. However, Joshua's skepticism regarding the dragon's warning prompts Iselin to inquire about his true motivations. Joshua, while indifferent to the allure of dragons, ponders Iselin's question, contemplating whether there are deeper reasons behind his desire to venture into Tryphia. In response to Iselin's insights, Joshua shares a different perspective. He suggests that instead of viewing the dragon's appearance as a mere warning, it could signify something more ominous. Joshua believes it might herald the beginning of the emergence of the malevolent evil dragon Crevasse, a harbinger of impending danger. With a sense of foreboding, Joshua hints at a deeper threat looming on the horizon. The scene transitions to the heart of the Avalon Empire, within the opulent confines of the Flower Palace at the Akardi Imperial Palace. Cercirin, the princess, lies bedridden, her condition growing increasingly dire. Despite the best efforts of the palace physicians, there seems to be no cure for her ailment. In the quiet solitude of her chambers, Cercirin's thoughts drift back to a conversation she had with Joshua, where he spoke of a medicine nearing completion, a gift intended to honor their connection from a past life. It's a glimmer of hope in her darkest hour. Into this somber atmosphere enters Kaizen, second prince of Avalon Empire. Concern etched upon his features as he inquires about Cercirin's well-being. The maids, their expressions heavy with worry, confide in Kaizen, revealing the grim reality of Cercirin's deteriorating health. With a determined spirit, Cercirin musters the strength to sit up, a silent testament to her resilience despite the toll exacted by their father, Emperor Marcus. She reassures Kaizen that if her suffering can serve the greater good of the country, then she will endure it willingly, her sense of duty unwavering even in the face of adversity. Kaizen's demeanor shifts to one of solemn determination as he gently lifts Cercirin from her bed. With a steely resolve, he pledges to utilize her unique ability, the Eye of Truth, to its fullest potential. Urging her to accompany him, Kaizen's cryptic words leave Cercirin bewildered and apprehensive. Demanding clarity, Cercirin questions Kaizen's intentions and implores him to release her. The maids, sensing the tension, move to intervene, but are swiftly deterred by the resolute knights at Kaizen's side. Reluctantly, the maids step aside, their fear palpable in the face of the knights' unwavering authority. Meanwhile, deep within the heart of the Tryphia region, amidst the dense foliage of the forest, a solitary figure with silver hair plays in solitude. Suddenly, Joshua emerges from the shadows, addressing the child as Ash, with a sense of familiarity. Confused, Ash queries Joshua's identity, prompting Joshua to introduce himself and declare his intent to rescue Ash. Perplexed by Joshua's presence, Ash denies being called by that name, insisting it's not theirs. Undeterred, Joshua asserts that Ash is indeed their name, bestowed upon them in a previous life. A revelation that leaves Ash contemplating the enigmatic connection between them. In the tranquil depths of the forest, Ash finds resonance in the name offered by Joshua. However, their moment of connection is swiftly disrupted by Ash's insistence on Joshua's departure. Undeterred, Joshua presents a request for a Sanders flower, his intentions veiled in enigma. With resolute determination, Joshua advances, shattering the magical barrier with his anti-magic field, leaving Ash visibly stunned by his display of power. As tension mounts, an army of orcs emerges from the shadows, converging upon the duo. Joshua wastes no time in addressing Ash by their true identity as the last surviving High Elf, the fifth Alunbus, seeking an audience with the elf. Then we see that Ash is indeed an elf. Amidst the chaos of the orc onslaught, Joshua unveils his true purpose, to deliver Ash from the clutches of the black dragon Crevasse. Overwhelmed by this revelation, Ash witnesses in disbelief as Joshua unleashes the draconic aura of fear, sending the orcs fleeing in terror. With the immediate threat dispersed, Ash grapples with astonishment at Joshua's ability to wield the fearsome power of the black dragon's aura. Undeterred by Ash's incredulity, Joshua presses for dialogue, prompting Ash to question how a mere human could command the formidable might of the black dragon's fear-inducing aura. In the midst of their exchange, Joshua broaches a topic of grave significance. The enigmatic Lord Crevasse, the sole black dragon yet to slumber. Ash recognized Joshua's manifestation of the black dragon fear as authentic, a feat beyond the reach of mere mortals. Undeterred by Ash's skepticism, Joshua offers to reveal the secrets behind his abilities on one condition. Ash must first entertain Joshua's identity. In a plea tinged with sorrow, Joshua appeals to Ash's sense of camaraderie, alluding to a shared connection with someone who holds knowledge of Zerath Orvis's whereabouts. Ash's shock is palpable as Ash recalls Zerath Orvis, a revered figure among the elves who made the ultimate sacrifice for their kin. Regretting the missed opportunity to express gratitude, Ash implores Joshua to clarify his intentions. In response, Joshua reassures Ash of his capability to handle the situation effortlessly, alluding to Ash's intrinsic powers, the eye of truth, bestowed upon those fated to live brief yet impactful lives. As a master of alchemy, Joshua harbors a quiet confidence in Ash's ability to concoct an antidote capable of neutralizing the curse. However, Ash asserts that obtaining a Sanders flower is paramount to crafting the remedy. Agreeing to Ash's terms, Joshua consents to divulging the secrets of his dragon fear prowess in exchange for the antidote's creation. Yet, Joshua deems trust indispensable in such delicate matters and requests Ash to undertake a vow of mana. Although Ash acquiesces to creating the potion, Ash emphasized that Joshua must procure the necessary ingredients. Undeterred, Joshua pledges to gather the components himself, prompting Ash to reluctantly concur. Privately, Ash doubts Joshua's foresight, recognizing the daunting task of gathering antidote ingredients. Nonetheless, driven by his curiosity and compelled by his oath, Ash solemnly undertakes the vow of mana, committing to crafting the antidote to alleviate the curse of the mind's eye. In return for Ash's dedication, Joshua pledges to unveil the truth behind Zerath Orvis and the enigma surrounding dragon fear, marking the beginning of an alliance forged in mutual need and understanding. With determination in his voice, Ash agrees to reveal the ingredients necessary for the antidote, under the condition that Joshua procures them. Ash expressed concern over the lengthy process of ingredient acquisition, prompting Ash to inquire why Joshua hasn't yet disclosed the truth about dragon fear. Joshua, unfazed by the daunting task ahead, reassures Ash that aside from the Sanders flower, he possesses all the required ingredients. Ash is stunned by this revelation, considering it impossible for a mere human to obtain some of the ingredients. However, Joshua's calm demeanor doesn't falter as he mentions the dragon heart fragment. As Joshua removed his earring, Ash gets shocked to see that wasn't a regular earring that Joshua was wearing but a black dragon earring. Ash reveals its true nature, a black dragon earring. Its cursed properties parallel those of the mind's eye, compounded by the additional burden of the dragon curse. Though potent, the earring's use by a lesser being than a dragon is riddled with perilous consequences. Ash's concern deepens as Ash elaborates on the perilous nature of the black dragon earring, cautioning that exposure to its demonic energy could drive a person to madness unless Joshua possessed demonic lineage. Intrigued by Joshua's admission of utilizing the earring, Ash questions whether Joshua's humanity alone could have breached Lord Crevasse's formidable barrier. Doubts begin to surface as Ash wonders aloud if Joshua truly belongs to the realm of humans. Joshua's response is cryptic, leaving Ash to ponder the truth behind Joshua's identity. With a solemn gaze, Joshua delivers a startling revelation. He claims to be a deity. The weight of this revelation overwhelms Ash. Ash collapses on the ground, unconscious. In Joshua's mind, he finds it amusing to tease Ash. Joshua sees this as an ideal opportunity to bring Ash along with him, using his collapse as a convenient excuse. The scene unfolds within the grandeur of Avalon Empire's Kaltika Palace, where Jachin stands before Emperor Marcus, delivering crucial tidings. With solemnity, he reveals that the formidable black god, Duke Agnes, has acquiesced to Emperor Marcus's commands. Duke Agnes is poised to lead the vanguard in the imminent continental clash. Upon hearing this proclamation, Emperor Marcus responds with an air of authority, remarking that Duke Agnes's compliance is not a matter of choice but of obligation to the throne. Jachin ventures further, daring to imply that Duke Agnes's seamless obedience is rather suspect. He elucidates how Emperor Marcus strategically dismantled Duke Agnes's support structure, the influential Pontier family and the cunning Rubrica clan. Consequently, Duke Agnes's lack of resistance and his smooth compliance raise eyebrows. Emperor Marcus, unwavering in his conviction, dismisses any notion of betrayal from Duke Agnes. He asserts that Jachin ought to understand this implicitly. Yet, Marcus cannot ignore the recent transgressions of Duke Agnes's son, Joshua. Joshua's reckless actions led foreign knights into Marcus's domain, resulting in the demise of many esteemed Avalon knights, including Marcus's cherished confidant, Count Cox. Marcus asserts that Duke Agnes is acutely aware of the stakes involved, particularly the jeopardy looming over his son's life. It's this awareness that prompted Marcus to strike a clandestine bargain with the Duke, a deal where Marcus would turn a blind eye in exchange for compliance. Jachin, taken aback by this revelation, absorbs the weight of the situation. Emperor Marcus then confirms to Jachin that all prerequisites have been met. The focal point of their plan, the imminent Reinhardt, and one of the continent's formidable superhumans, Joshua Sanders, are now within Marcus's grasp. With a sense of purpose, Marcus instructs Jachin to convene the central nobles for an urgent meeting and to summon Joshua Sanders to the Grand Palace forthwith. The scene transitions to the ivory tower of the Imperial Magicians in the Avalon Empire, where Kaizen confides in Evergrande. Kaizen discloses that he has relocated Cercerin to his domain, noting Emperor Marcus's apparent disinterest. However, Kaizen confronts Evergrande about their prior reluctance to aid him. Evergrande, candid in response, attributes his change of heart to the dire state of the Empire's affairs. As the Emperor fervently advocates for a battle under the guise of continental unity, his indifference towards other matters becomes glaringly apparent. Meanwhile, Evergrande confides in Kaizen, revealing that the formidable Black God, Duke Agnes, is spearheading Avalon's forces towards the Swallow Empire for the impending conflict. Evergrande anticipates a swift resolution to the conflict, foreseeing Kaizen's ascension to the throne once the dust settles. Evergrande is convinced that Kaizen will swiftly assume control of the Avalon Empire. However, Kaizen's response is tinged with skepticism. Despite being labeled a tyrant akin to his father by many, Kaizen questions Evergrande's assumption that he, rather than his brother, the first prince, would inherit the throne. Kaizen's tone grows colder as he suggests that if Evergrande's intent is to flatter him, their conversation should cease immediately, seeing no merit in such insincerity. Undeterred, Evergrande pauses momentarily before candidly admitting his true ambition to Kaizen, to ascend as the leader of a prestigious magic tower. Exasperated by Evergrande's revelation, Kaizen confronts him, questioning whether he's truly willing to betray the Avalon Empire merely to secure a position within the magic tower. Evergrande counters, explaining that his ambitions are rooted in maintaining his status as the chief imperial magician, with the ultimate goal of becoming both the most powerful magician in the empire and the proprietor of a magic tower. Kaizen's disbelief is palpable as he admonishes Evergrande, reminding him to be grateful for his current standing. Yet, to Kaizen's surprise, Evergrande's audacious pursuit of power elicits a sense of admiration. Kaizen commends Evergrande's unwavering determination, acknowledging the lengths to which the proud magician is willing to go to achieve his objectives. Intrigued by Evergrande's resolve, Kaizen implores him to divulge the steps necessary to claim the throne. Evergrande, seizing the moment, discloses his current project, a clandestine potion designed to conceal the symptoms of any illness. In a moment of revelation, Evergrande unveils the true nature of the potion. It grants the user a single day of apparent well-being, unleashing their full potential for one last time. However, there's a fatal catch. Once the effects wear off, the user will meet their demise. Evergrande proposes that Kaizen could administer this potion to Lady Cercerin, allowing her to harness the power of the Mind's Eye for one final day. Kaizen, recognizing the allure of such an offer, surmises that Cercerin would embrace the chance to wield her abilities one last time before her inevitable passing. Eager to see how Cercerin's powers could be utilized, Kaizen encourages Evergrande to elaborate on his plan. Evergrande outlines his strategy to Kaizen, who, impressed by the ingenuity of the plan, entrusts Evergrande with its execution. As Kaizen exits the room, Evergrande's demeanor shifts. Turning to Kaiser, Evergrande exudes confidence, assuring him that everything has gone according to plan. Eager for Kaiser's opinion, Evergrande awaits his response. Kaiser raises a poignant question to Evergrande, probing whether Evergrande truly believes that Kaiser's brother will conform to their expectations. Among the siblings, Kaizen stands out as the most astute and formidable, making him a challenging adversary. Evergrande acknowledges Kaizen's cunning but counters with a historical analogy. Evergrande draws a parallel between ambition and legacy, distinguishing between those who would resort to any means to achieve their ends, akin to Brutus, and those who lead with vision and integrity, akin to Cairo. In the annals of Avalon Empire's ancestry, the lineage traces back to the Asgard kingdom, where Brutus, the first king, clawed his way to power through Machiavellian tactics. However, despite his conquests, Brutus met a fate mirroring his predecessors. Conversely, Cairo's reign epitomized leadership guided by wisdom and foresight. Under his stewardship, the kingdom flourished, expanding its influence across the continent. Evergrande emphasizes to Kaiser that while this historical lesson may not be enough to sway the second prince's trust, Kaizen finds himself in a precarious position. Despite his intellect, Kaizen lacks the strategic advantage. The Tremblin family's allegiance to the first prince, Kisser, amplifies Kaizen's predicament, rendering him unable to mount a viable challenge for control. In the recesses of Evergrande's mind, he ponders the potential game-changer, Zerath Orvis. He muses that perhaps it's more fitting to dub Zerath as Berubara now, given Zerath's pact with demons. Evergrande shares with Kaiser his strategic foresight. If they continue to align with the second prince, Kaizen will inevitably come to rely on them. This dependency, Evergrande predicts, will enable them to manipulate the political landscape by leveraging the second prince against the first. Kaiser concurs, adding his own insights to the plan. Kaiser voices concern over unforeseen complications, particularly regarding Joshua Sanders. He recounts how the old Reinhardt kingdom once disregarded their former ruler, Lion King Riengeiger, despite his stature as one of the 12 superhumans. Yet now, they rally to protect Joshua. Kaiser underscores the anomaly of Joshua's exceptional skills at such a tender age. With a gravity in his expression, Kaiser acknowledges the looming threat Joshua Sanders poses, sensing there's more to him than meets the eye. He confides in Evergrande, emphasizing the need to neutralize Joshua before he becomes a hindrance. Kaiser solemnly requests one last favor from Evergrande, underscoring the necessity of positioning both the second prince and Joshua as potential threats to the Avalon Empire's stability. If they succeed, Kaiser asserts, both Joshua and Kaizen will find their influence curtailed within the empire. Evergrande, understanding the gravity of the situation, assures Kaiser of his commitment. He pledges to ensure Joshua's timely return, confident that their plan is feasible. Kaiser, expressing his utmost trust in Evergrande, takes his leave, urging Evergrande to rest. Before Kaiser departs, Evergrande poses a question: whether Kaiser sees himself more akin to Brutus or Cairo. Kaiser pauses, considering the inquiry before simply admitting he's never pondered it before. If pressed to choose, Kaiser admits he'd aspire to emulate Heimdall. As the scene transitions to the Tryphia region, Ash points out the location of the Sanders flower. Joshua, eyeing the flower, assures Ash that retrieving it shouldn't pose much difficulty. Ash, taken aback, questions Joshua's certainty, citing the lateness of the hour and the dangers lurking in the area, compounded by the risk of using the black dragon earring for mere medicine. Joshua's demeanor turns grave as he silences Ash, reminding him of who he's dealing with. Ash, startled by Joshua's intensity, accuses him of lying and questions his credibility. Their conversation takes a tense turn as Ash reveals that his motivation for assisting Joshua is to reconnect with an old friend. With a sense of urgency, Ash probes Joshua about his knowledge of the Sanders flower's side effects. Joshua nods in agreement with Ash's inquiry, acknowledging the age-old principle that gaining something often entails sacrifice. Deep in his thoughts, Joshua deliberates on the potential consequences of using the Sanders flower. While it may restore Cerciorin's sight and vitality, it comes at the cost of her memories. Uncertain of the extent of Cerciorin's memory loss, Joshua sees a silver lining. sparing her the anguish of her painful past. Suddenly, a palpable tension fills the air as both Joshua and Ash sense a formidable presence. With a quiver in his voice, Ash alerts Joshua to the return of Crevasse, the black dragon. As the dragon descends upon them, its disdain evident, Joshua braces himself for the impending onslaught. With a swift and powerful strike, the dragon lunges at Joshua, who, undeterred, uses his spear to deflect the attack with remarkable skill and resolve. With unparalleled agility, Joshua leaps into the air, driving his spear toward the dragon with unwavering determination. Yet, the dragon swiftly retaliates, using its massive claw to swat Joshua aside, sending him hurtling into the mountainside. Dusting himself off with a smirk, Joshua concedes that the dragon's strength surpasses his expectations, acknowledging its formidable nature. As the dragon inquires about Joshua's identity, Joshua hesitates, weighing his response. Revealing himself as a god could provoke the dragon's ire, so Joshua opts to fabricate a tale. However, before he can concoct a story, Ash interjects, casting doubt on Joshua's credibility. With a sense of trepidation, Ash points out Joshua's human form and the ominous black earring adorning his ear. With a stern glance, Joshua silences Ash, prompting fear in his companion. Sensing the tension, the dragon turns to Ash, questioning Joshua's true nature. Ash presses Crevasse for clarification, prompting the dragon to reveal Joshua's peculiar energy manipulation. Crevasse notes Joshua's ability to harness both demonic and holy energies, a rare feat that perplexes the dragon. Meanwhile, Joshua contemplates the situation, hopeful that a diplomatic resolution is still feasible. However, Crevasse abruptly launches an attack, forcing Joshua to defend himself with his spear. In the midst of the confrontation, Lucia interjects, suggesting that Joshua unleash his true power against Crevasse. Recognizing the opportunity, Joshua resolves to use Crevasse as a test of his newfound abilities. With determination, he employs the Advanced Magic Spear Arts Stage 6, a level he never reached in his previous life. Yet, in an unexpected turn, Joshua finds himself disoriented, suspended in midair, bewildered by his sudden displacement after confronting the black dragon. As demons charge towards Joshua, he's momentarily stunned, questioning if he's been transported to the demon realm. Attempting to defend himself, Joshua finds the demons passing through him, targeting the winged figure behind him instead. In a sudden shift, Joshua's surroundings alter once more. Witnessing a figure removing Michael's wings, Joshua speculates if he's witnessing Lucia's memories, a glimpse into her past. Abruptly, the scene shifts back to the present. Ash and Crevasse, expecting Joshua to falter, are astonished to find him adorned in armor with wings sprouting from his back. Meanwhile, Joshua, grappling with the experience, surmises that though he's uncertain of the illusion's significance, it's not without purpose. Recognizing the potential connection between Lucia's memories and his mastery of magic spear arts, Joshua resolves to press forward. With determination, he strides towards Crevasse, prepared for the impending strike. Crevasse confronts Joshua, expressing uncertainty regarding Joshua's moral alignment, but affirming his commitment to neutralizing any perceived threat Joshua poses. With a mighty roar, Crevasse unleashes his dragon breath, aiming to subdue Joshua. In response, Joshua executes a heavenly strike, piercing through the dragon's attack and landing a direct blow on Crevasse's body. Ash is astounded by Joshua's feat, recognizing that even high-ranking demons struggle to inflict such damage on a black dragon. As Crevasse crashes to the ground, he queries Joshua about his identity. Joshua, unfazed, deflects the question, attributing Crevasse's anger not to mere territorial infringement, but to the events at the Trifia area's end, the incident at Rebecca Castle. Acknowledging Joshua's insight, Crevasse remains wary, prompting Joshua to brace for further confrontation. Crevasse's accusation strikes a chord with Joshua as he reflects on the grave consequences of humanity's transgressions. The utilization of demonic power to transform their own into ghouls is an unforgivable offense, one that will not go unpunished by the Emperor. Joshua recognizes this moment as the genesis of a larger conflict, one that predates even his regression. It marks the inception of the tension between Crevasse and the Avalon Empire, raising questions about how they brokered a pact with the guardian Black Dragon. With Evergrande's shadow looming over every facet of the unfolding events, Joshua resolves to seize control of the situation for himself, leveraging the deal with the Black Dragon to his advantage. As the gravity of the situation sinks in, Joshua braces himself for the challenges ahead. The scene shifts to the Pontier estate, where Cain is deeply engrossed in his training regimen. Icarus interrupts, noting that Cain has been tirelessly training for the past 4 days and suggesting he take a much-needed break. Cain, however, insists that he cannot afford to rest if he hopes to be of use to Lord Joshua, striving to surpass the capabilities of an A rank. Curious about Icarus's sudden appearance, Cain inquires about his presence. Icarus reveals that an edict from the Emperor addressed to Lord Joshua has just arrived. When Cain questions how Icarus knew without even opening it, Icarus explains that while he couldn't read the contents, it was evident from the seal and the circumstances surrounding recent events, the territorial clash between the Pontiers and Crombles and the appearance of foreign knights on their land, that such a missive was inevitable. Though Cain acknowledges Icarus's deduction as a plausible guess, he insists they won't know for certain until they open it. In unison, both Cain and Icarus decide it's time to unveil the contents of the edict and see what fate has in store. Icarus chuckles, noting the synchronicity of their instincts. As Cain unfolds the letter and peruses its contents, frustration clouds his features. When Icarus inquires about the letter's contents, Cain relays Emperor Marcus's directive. Lord Joshua is summoned to the palace within the next 5 days. However, Joshua is currently situated in the Tryphia region, a place devoid of warp gates. Factoring in the time it would take for the message to reach Joshua and for him to travel to the palace, Cain estimates a delay of at least 2 weeks, assuming Joshua leaves immediately from Peril Castle. Even then, meeting the palace's deadline within 5 days seems improbable. Icarus reassures Cain, expressing confidence that Lord Joshua has concluded his personal obligations and is en route back. With resolve, they plan to set sail for the palace at first light. However, before they depart, Icarus must attend to the tasks Lord Joshua assigned. Cain expresses concern to Icarus about leaving the Pontier family unattended at Peril Castle. However, Icarus reassures Cain, informing him that he has already arranged for assistance. With a firm nod, Icarus urges Cain not to fret and to prepare for their departure. The scene transitions to a forest where Axelar stands with his mercenaries. One of the mercenaries questions the decision to accept the request. Axelar asserts that it's only natural to rectify their mistakes first, especially since Icarus of the Sanders family has tasked them with safeguarding the Pontier family until further notice. In the Tryphia forest, Ash informs Joshua that the antidote is ready. Then, hesitantly, Ash broaches a sensitive topic, questioning why Joshua still needs Ash's presence since Joshua has already achieved his goals. Ash wonders if Joshua can release him. A few moments later, the scene shifts to a few moments before. Crevasse's words hang heavy in the air as he ponders Joshua's proposition. If Joshua's claims hold truth, then perhaps there is a chance for a pact between them. With a sense of curiosity, Crevasse queries Joshua about his request. Then Joshua tells Crevasse that firstly Joshua wants Ash, and secondly a fully bloomed Sanders flower. In the present moment, Joshua reassures Ash that technically, as a fully fledged knight, he has no personal attendants. However, he expresses his wish for Ash to serve as his attendant for a decade. Ash, visibly concerned, protests, deeming 10 years too long, and revealing his lineage as a descendant of high elves. Ash rejects Joshua's proposal. Joshua, taken aback by Ash's refusal, points out that Ash readily serves the Black Dragon but refuses to serve him, despite their history. Determined to secure Ash's loyalty, Joshua extends the duration of service to 15 years. Ash, distressed by Joshua's persistence, insists that this wasn't his intention and proposes a counteroffer, urging Joshua to negotiate with him. As Ash discerns Joshua's utilization of the primordial stones, he resolves to reveal the locations of the other stones, having earned his freedom and unwilling to continue life as an attendant. Witnessing Ash's newfound resolve, Joshua can't help but smile. Offering a compromise, Joshua reduces the service period to 5 years and eagerly inquires about the other primordial stones. Ash's eyes light up with excitement as he begins to describe the Tempest Stone, explaining its divine essence and mastery over the element of wind. Suddenly, the black dragon emerges from the shadows, announcing his recovery and urging Joshua to depart. With a nod to Crevasse, Joshua acknowledges their agreement and expresses hope that Crevasse will uphold his end of the bargain. The scene shifts to the Grand Palace of the Avalon Empire, where Jachin informs Emperor Marcus that all members of the central nobility, except Duke Agnes, have assembled. Reflecting on the father-son duo's knack for provoking him, Emperor Marcus can't help but feel agitated. Emperor Marcus's voice reverberated with authority as he issued a chilling decree to Jachin. Should Duke Agnes and Joshua fail to arrive punctually, he vowed to take down one of their associates every 10 minutes of delay. With a steely resolve, Marcus promised severe consequences for the families aligned with Joshua, sparing only Reinhardt and the Wilhelm Knights under his jurisdiction. The sudden appearance of a black dragon startled both Emperor Marcus and Jachin, throwing them off guard. Reacting swiftly, Commander Rude Din of the Imperial Knights barked orders to his forces. The 1st through 3rd battalions were tasked with securing the perimeter of the main palace, while the 4th through 6th battalions were to fortify the palace interior. Simultaneously, the 7th through 9th battalions were instructed to fortify the palace gates. The remaining forces were designated as backup, ready to intervene if needed. With military precision, the knights assumed their positions, their weapons poised for action. Amidst the tense atmosphere, the Bison commander of the 12th and 13th battalions drew attention to the figure descending from the Black Dragon, Commander Joshua Sanders. Shock rippled through the ranks of the knights at this unexpected development. The scene unfolds, taking us back a few moments in time. Joshua's voice breaks the silence as he informs Ash of Lord Crevasse's permission for Ash to take flight upon him. Ash, gripped by fear, hesitates, revealing his fear of heights to Joshua. Undeterred, Joshua urges Ash to take the leap, insisting that facing one's fears head-on is the only path to mastery. To Ash's confusion, Joshua likens the moment to practice, a necessary step in preparation for the challenges ahead, including the eventual ascent of Yggdrasil. Startled by Joshua's insight, Ash queries how Joshua is aware of such future endeavors. With a knowing smile, Joshua conveys that while he may not possess all the answers, he knows one undeniable truth: avoidance only perpetuates the problem, never resolving it. He implores Ash to confront rather than evade, emphasizing the necessity of breaking through the barrier of fear. With a newfound determination, Ash absorbs Joshua's wisdom, but their conversation is interrupted as Crevasse intervenes, urging Joshua to depart and propelling them skyward. As Joshua and Ash descend towards the palace, the scene seamlessly transitions to the interior, where Count Sten engages Count Tremblin in discussion. Count Sten posits Emperor Marcus as the paramount figure of skill within the Avalon Empire, suggesting his likelihood of survival surpasses even his own. Count Tremblin, in turn, emphasizes the paramount importance of Emperor Marcus's safety, urging composure amidst the uncertainty. Count Sten's frustration surfaces as he laments the sudden disappearance of the Imperial Chief Magician, coinciding with the dragon's appearance. His attention then shifts to the arrival of Duke Agnes, marking his presence with a declaration. Meanwhile, in the Emperor's meeting chamber, Evergrant confers with Emperor Marcus, acknowledging the early timing of events. Evergrant understands the necessity of presenting a proposition to the Black Dragon, one so compelling it cannot be rebuffed. Emperor Marcus, aware of the stakes, cautiously weighs the potential consequences, recognizing the delicate balance upon which the fate of the Avalon Empire rests. Evergrant reassures Emperor Marcus, urging him not to fret, as Evergrant possesses a profound understanding of the Black Dragon's desires. With Emperor Marcus's consent, Evergrant proceeds to provide a concise elucidation. The appearance of the Black Dragon, Evergrant explains, stems from human encroachment into the dragon's domain. However, he swiftly redirects attention to a more pressing issue: the creation of ghouls by the populace, a development of far greater magnitude. Evergrant speculates that the Black Dragon, enticed by the scent of demonic energy, emerged from seclusion to investigate. Intrigued by the prospect of encountering living demons, he strays from his customary role as guardian of the Middle Realm, driven by personal curiosity. Evergrande posits that leveraging the Black Dragon's fascination with demons presents an opportunity to secure his allegiance, a strategic maneuver made plausible by the dragon's self-indulgent pursuits. With the concentration of demonic energy and the pivotal source, a demon's horn, Evergrande surmises that this middle-class demon artifact should satiate the Black Dragon's curiosity. Anticipating the dragon's inquiry about the horn's origin, Evergrande plans to leverage his knowledge to captivate the dragon's attention, thereby establishing a measure of control. Emperor Marcus queries whether Evergrande has already secured such a horn for presentation to the Black Dragon, to which Evergrande responds affirmatively. Internally, Evergrande grapples with the near breach of his pact with the demon, recognizing the precariousness of the situation. Emperor Marcus notices Evergrande's sudden lapse in speech, prompting a clarification, but their attention is abruptly diverted as both are startled by the Black Dragon's unexpected retreat. Puzzled by the dragon's sudden change in demeanor, Evergrande inwardly questions the cause. Seeking forgiveness from Emperor Marcus, Evergrande commits to fulfilling his directive despite the unforeseen turn of events. Evergrande seeks Emperor Marcus's permission to depart, prompting a flicker of suspicion from the Emperor. Nonetheless, Emperor Marcus grants Evergrande leave, issuing a directive for his exit. As Evergrande exits, Emperor Marcus instructs Jacon to shadow Evergrande closely, authorizing Jacon to intervene if any suspicious activities arise. The scene then transitions to the Assembly Hall, where the entirety of Avalon's nobility has convened. The nobles express astonishment at the Black Dragon's sudden retreat, puzzled by its departure mere moments after its arrival. Marquis Briery raises concerns about the dragon's devastating potential, highlighting the urgent need for a contingency plan for its inevitable return. Baron Prevalum concurs, emphasizing the necessity of preparedness in the face of such a formidable threat. Marquis Briery, however, dismisses the need for elaborate strategies, proposing instead the elimination of the root cause of the dragon's appearance. Count Cromwell, who recklessly dispatched his armed forces to the Tryphia region, thereby provoking the dragon's ire. In the midst of the discussion, Count Cromwell interjects, reminding Marquis Briery of his role in hastening the resolution of territorial disputes within the dragon's domain. Count Cromwell questions the fortuitous timing of Baron Joshua Sanders' appearance coinciding with the nobles' assembly. The sudden arrival of Baron Joshua Sanders shocks the attendees. As the tension mounts, Ash bursts into the room, his voice echoing through the chamber. Seeking validation from Joshua, Ash questions whether his presence has captured the noble's attention. Joshua, however, clarifies that while not his intention, the disruption achieves a similar objective. Marquis Briery admonishes Joshua for his disruptive behavior, citing recent troubles caused by his actions. He implores Joshua to fulfill his duties as an imperial knight now that he has returned to the castle. Hearing this, Ash offers to intervene with a spell, ready to deal with the situation at hand. As the meeting progresses, Emperor Marcus enters the room, greeted respectfully by all, including Joshua and Ash. Emperor Marcus's gaze falls upon Ash, his expression grave. Ash, taken aback, reflects on his millennia-long existence and finds the human's aura unusually steeped in conflict. Addressing Joshua, Emperor Marcus expresses surprise at his swift arrival, having heard of Joshua's presence in the distant Pontier family territory in the far south. Joshua assures Emperor Marcus of his prompt response to the Emperor's summons, eager to fulfill his important mandate. Emperor Marcus queries Joshua's meaning, prompting Joshua to explain that Marquis Briery had urged him to fulfill his duty as an imperial knight. Joshua asserts his belief that Emperor Marcus must have witnessed the enraged dragon soaring over the skies of Akardi and insists that those responsible for the disruption must be held to account. Count Cromwell utilized the territorial conflict as justification to venture into the forbidden expanse of the Black Dragon's domain, intentionally provoking the ancient creature's wrath. Joshua proposes a swift response. If Emperor Marcus grants the order, Joshua will promptly apprehend Count Cromwell. Emperor Marcus, surprised by this proposal, questions its potential effectiveness, pondering the seriousness of the situation. Recognizing Joshua's resolute stance, Emperor Marcus reflects on the strategic advantage of Duke Agnes's allegiance to the imperial command. Satisfied with this alignment, Emperor Marcus grants Joshua full autonomy in handling the matter, much to the surprise of the assembled nobles. Count Cromwell steps forward, admitting his forces' intrusion into the Tryphia region, but claiming strict obedience to orders from Emperor Marcus. In response, Emperor Marcus turns to Duke Agnes, inquiring about the course of action he would advise, mindful of the accusations levied by the Cromwell family against the imperial authority. Duke Agnes calmly informs Emperor Marcus that he adheres strictly to the emperor's commands. Emperor Marcus, mildly amused, remarks on the predictability of Duke Agnes's response. Meanwhile, Joshua strides purposefully towards Count Cromwell, announcing his intent to escort him to a jail cell without delay. After a brief moment, Joshua strides into the meeting room, standing before Emperor Marcus. Joshua reports his safe return following the completion of the emperor's directives. Emperor Marcus, always taken aback by Joshua's presence, admits to a sense of trepidation in Joshua's proximity. Addressing the matter of the Wilhelm Knights, a foreign armed force encroaching upon Emperor Marcus's lands, the emperor deliberates on the appropriate retribution for Joshua's perceived lapse. Despite this transgression, Emperor Marcus hesitates to punish Joshua, recognizing his value. Instead, he proposes an alternative. Joshua shall become the emperor's sword, and in exchange, Emperor Marcus will betroth his daughter, Princess Cerceirin, to Joshua. Joshua, taken aback by this proposal, registers his surprise. An intervening noble raises concerns about Princess Cerceirin's health, to which Emperor Marcus responds with pragmatism, suggesting that Joshua's association would alleviate such worries. Joshua will retain his current position and gain the right to challenge the throne, irrespective of his title. Emperor Marcus underscores this as a singular opportunity for Joshua to ascend to the highest office in the land, a feat even Joshua's father failed to achieve. The emperor presents it as the fulfillment of Joshua's aspirations, a neglected child rising to become the emperor of the continent's greatest nation. To become Emperor Marcus's sword, the emperor requests but one vow. He queries Joshua's hesitation, prompting introspection from Joshua. Despite Emperor Marcus's proposition, Joshua remains steadfast, unwilling to exploit Cerceirin's situation for personal gain. Apologizing to Emperor Marcus, Joshua admits this is an order he cannot fulfill. The revelation shocks those present. Emperor Marcus interprets Joshua's stance as a rejection of his offer, with the involvement of the Wilhelm Knights deemed an act of treason. Emperor Marcus questions Joshua's comprehension of the situation, emphasizing the gravity of his words. He offers Joshua one final opportunity, clarifying that it is not a mere suggestion but an imperative directive. Despite Joshua's apology, Emperor Marcus's comparison of him to a mere object, a sword, strikes a chord. Joshua counters, asserting that objects possess a value directly tied to their worth. Emperor Marcus probes if Joshua is attempting to negotiate, insisting that Avalon will fall under Joshua's dominion, with all land and resources becoming his. However, Joshua maintains that he is not yet fully developed, likening himself to an unfinished blade. He requests more time, promising to hone himself into an unparalleled weapon. Ultimately, Joshua vows to come of age and make his decision regarding loyalty, asking Emperor Marcus to await that moment. Upon hearing Joshua's plea, Emperor Marcus acknowledges that Joshua has yet to reach the age of 18, contemplating the merits of adhering to tradition. He then invites Joshua to articulate his desires. Joshua, taken aback by this unexpected opportunity, is surprised. Emperor Marcus reassures Joshua, explaining that he merely seeks to garner favor in the competition for Joshua's allegiance. He encourages Joshua to express his wishes. In response, Joshua proposes the establishment of a new knight order, comprising the 11th and 12th battalions under his command. The announcement elicits shock from those present. Marquis Briere steps forward, cautioning Emperor Marcus against acceding to Joshua's request. He expresses concern over the notion of a knight order other than the imperial knights occupying the castle, casting suspicion on Baron Joshua Sanders' intentions towards the empire. Emperor Marcus points out the evident skepticism among the nobles in response to Joshua's request, questioning the necessity of a new knight order. Joshua, undeterred, explains that his own experiences as an illegitimate child have made him acutely aware of prejudice and its impact on individuals like his mother. He empathizes with the aspirations of the knights in the 11th and 12th battalions, each harboring dreams of becoming the Empire's greatest knight. Joshua desires to support their journey by establishing a knight order that fosters excellence and inclusivity across the continent. Emperor Marcus, recognizing Joshua's noble intentions, agrees to grant his request. He asks Joshua if there are any additional matters to address. Joshua expresses gratitude, stating that this gesture is more than sufficient. Thus, Emperor Marcus bestows upon Joshua the title of Count in the Empire, marking a pivotal moment in Joshua's journey. Furthermore, Emperor Marcus announces the transfer of Marquis Cromwell's territories to Count Joshua Sanders. Marquis Breary registers shock at this revelation. With this announcement, Emperor Marcus concludes the central nobles meeting and dismisses the assembly. Turning to Count Joshua, Emperor Marcus suggests considering a middle name in his free time and expresses anticipation for their next encounter. As Duke Agnes departs, he remarks to Joshua on his increasing proximity to the center of power. Conversely, Marquis Breary laments the state of the empire, expressing skepticism at Emperor Marcus entrusting the management of an independent knight order to a young individual. Count Prevalum reassures Marquis Breary, asserting that Joshua's prominence will only continue to grow, attracting further attention from the nobles. Ash then steps forward, reminding the gathered nobles of Emperor Marcus's declaration regarding Count Joshua Sanders' future allegiance to the emperor. Noble Count Joshua Sanders extends an opportunity to all the nobles, a gesture that elicits frustration among them. However, Ash interjects, informing the nobles that Count Joshua Sanders will bestow special privileges upon those who align with him early, leaving nothing for latecomers. Prompted by this incentive, the nobles swiftly rally to join forces with Count Joshua Sanders. Meanwhile, Marquis Breary perceives this development as concerning. Not only will Joshua wield influence through his independent knight order, but with the increasing support of noble families, his sway may soon rival that of Emperor Marcus. In another chamber, Evergrant confides in a cloaked figure that their plan has faltered, as the black dragon Crevasse did not take the anticipated action. Seeking guidance, Evergrant asks what course of action they should pursue next. The cloaked figure reassures Evergrant, affirming that their ultimate confrontation with Crevasse remains inevitable. Unexpectedly, Heimdall's foresight regarding Joshua's disruptive potential proves accurate, posing a significant challenge. The cloaked figure remains puzzled by how Joshua managed to sway Crevasse to his side, but acknowledges that they cannot allow Joshua to disrupt their plans. They discuss the possibility of assigning Joshua to another contractor. However, Evergrant expresses reservations, citing Emperor Marcus's vigilance and the need for time to mobilize Duke Agnes's family and Prince Kaizen's forces. Evergrant suggests prioritizing the elimination of Emperor Marcus and the Magic Tower. The cloaked figure inquires about the readiness of their preparations, to which Evergrant mentions Heimdall's leakage of information regarding Ashur Van Britten, anticipating Emperor Marcus's awareness via the Black Wind. Seeing this as an opportunity, the cloaked figure proposes starting with the Emperor's demise and proceeding methodically, with a desire to obtain the Emperor's Death Knight even after his demise. The cloaked figure reaches for something on the wall, startling Evergrant as he discovers a hidden shadow subspace within the wall. Revealed to be the Black Wind, the cloaked figure seizes Jakin, leaving Jakin astounded at how the figure could have detected him, given his elusive nature that even superhumans struggle to sense. It is then unveiled that the cloaked figure is none other than Asmodeus, a formidable top-level demon of level 32. The scene transitions to the headquarters of the Avalon Imperial Knight Order's 11th and 12th Battalions, where Basin expresses his surprise to Joshua. Basin had not anticipated Joshua's bold statements in front of the nobles, nor had the knights imagined the prospect of developing their own knight order. Basin is confident that envy will abound among the other battalions. Another knight seizes the opportunity to inquire about the nature of the knight order Joshua intends to establish. While Joshua refrains from divulging all the details, he shares a tantalizing hint. Drawing inspiration from the legend of the Swallow Empire, the Order aims to produce the first aerial knights of Avalon, surpassing even the renowned Wyvern Knights. The revelation stuns the knight, prompting further excitement as Joshua elaborates on the Order's aspirations to emulate legendary figures such as the Crevasse Knight Order and their association with the fearsome Black Dragon. Eagerly, the knights inquire if they, too, will have the chance to ride dragons. Upon hearing Joshua's plans for the Knight Order, Ash smirks, recognizing the exclusivity of riding Lord Crevasse. Shortly after, a knight interrupts, announcing the arrival of a guest with urgent news. Joshua inquires about the guest's identity, and Captain Armstrong of the Agnes family's first knights enters the room. The scene transitions to a private chamber where Joshua expresses gratitude to Captain Armstrong for his visit and queries the purpose of his arrival. Captain Armstrong reveals that he brings a message from Duke Agnes. According to him, recognizing Joshua's unparalleled success, Duke Agnes wishes to extend an invitation to his estate for a celebration, with Joshua's mother eagerly anticipating his arrival. Despite the tempting offer, Joshua acknowledges his duties in Akardi and pledges to visit the estate once his work is concluded. Captain Armstrong expresses enthusiasm for Joshua's visit to Duke Agnes's estate, but seeks clarification regarding Joshua's pending tasks. He requests insight to provide Duke Agnes with a suitable explanation for Joshua's delayed arrival. Joshua reassures Captain Armstrong, explaining that he simply plans to visit the brilliant Flower Palace, an endeavor unrelated to the Emperor's directives. Disappointed, Captain Armstrong had hoped for an opportunity to witness the martial prowess of Count Joshua Sanders. Perplexed, Joshua queries Captain Armstrong about his cryptic remark. Captain Armstrong reveals Emperor Marcus's utilization of the Battle of Bircher as a means to find Princess Cercera and espouse, emphasizing the open invitation extended to all citizens of the Avalon Empire. Joshua is stunned by this revelation, absorbing the implications of Captain Armstrong's words. Captain Armstrong attributes this development to the chief imperial magician, Evergrant, who has apparently concocted a remedy for Princess Cercera. Joshua's reaction shifts to anger at this news. Then the scene shifts to the Pontier estate.